Hello, Maria. It's lovely to connect with you. And, we've set this up because we're two women who have had a hysterectomy in the recent past and both found that mBraining was really useful as part of that journey. And I had the privilege of talking to you before yours and after yours and just saw how beautifully you really embodied the whole process and came through, beautifully. You healed well, and both of us has found that using mBraining meant that we didn't have a lot of the other issues that sometimes get reported, like depression, like that feeling of loss and grief. So I thought it was worth just having a conversation, to share our stories, your story, so that anyone else who might think about using that preoperative mBIT script, so that we plan for rather than react to. Yeah, so just tell us a little bit. There'll be some people watching who maybe don't know who you are or where you are and might be fooled a little bit by your accent. So just kind of say who you are, where you are, what you do as an mBIT coach, and let people get to know you, the person.
Yeah, okay. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, everyone. I'm Maria. I'm Russian, living in the UK, where we moved with my family 6 years ago. And I am mBIT coach since February. And I had my hysterectomy operation beginning of September. Though I was diagnosed with cervical cancer in March, and then the decision about operation was made in May. So I think it's important. So I did have time to kind of process before the operation, quite significant time to process that what is going to happen, and to kind of deep dive into myself and try to understand, at the physical level, but also at any level, spiritual level as well, what will it mean for me not to have womb anymore.
Beautiful. And it's now the beginning of November, so we're only talking 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And you're well, you're fit, you're well, you're back to your yoga.
I'm doing my handstands again, which I'm happy about. And it was quite, I want to say, I don't want to use the word rapid recovery, because this is the word that I actually rather not use. But it was really beautiful recovery, and thanks to you, Suzanne, because when I met you in, I think, June, right, when we had the coach cert revision with you, and then I learned that you had the same operation and that you had something you prepare, like the protocol that you can undertake to prepare yourself for the operation. And I felt really grateful again for the universe, that I like bump into you and you gave this information that I realized that I need something for me to be more specifically, going inside my body deeply and really understand what would it mean not to have womb and not to be able to have kids. I have one child, but not to have any more kids, and how it will impact, my existence.
Yeah, I mean, it's lots and lots of major issues to consider: diagnosis, the impact of losing that womb on its own, little alone the fact that you might not have been at the end of what you thought was, your family creation. And we know from Master Coach that the womb is a major part of the female pelvic sex brain, and so it has other functions as well. So I think it's a process that Grant and I created together in preparation for my surgery, and it's an absolute honor to be able to offer that out. I will put up my email address as we edit this video, so that if anybody wants that process, then they're welcome to it. It's open access like mBraining is, and it's been used in a number of different surgeries. It's been used for spinal fusion, it's been used for major cardiac surgery, and each time it's added something to that process that's helped the person go through it. So what, I guess you've only got the experience of how it was with that preparation, but from your perception, how did it help? How did talking to your body, and particularly those pelvic organs, help prior to surgery? What did you notice? What were you aware of?
I think the biggest wow moment for me was that my womb, it wasn't just the source of, every month's pain for me that I perceived it in the past, but it had a really, the fundamental function of holding this kind of knowledge of the past females generation. And it was like, wow, and then it actually had a lot of energy that it wanted to give before moving away from my body. So this is one aha moment. Then basically, I remember that when we walked with you through the process, my womb managed to talk to other parts of my gut and pelvic brains. So I picked up the part, or womb picked up the part that would be responsible for this function when it goes away. And other important thing that I realized that even it physically goes away, it never goes away energetically. I still feel it. I don't feel that I don't have womb anymore. And I also realized that being released from this kind of my perceptions of the womb being rather painful for me, then giving me something that actually I feel much more creativity and balance after the operation than I used to have before, when I had my very painful periods and all sorts of problems and cancer and so kind of that's also realization, kind of this is like gratitude and forgiveness towards the organ that's really, it's very important for you, not just for your function, but for actually for creating and for wisdom as well, like this female wisdom. It was, for me, it was really a huge realization.
And there may be some women watching that have, they're not on that trajectory of going towards a hysterectomy, and they may never go down that route, but they might be listening and curious now about talking to the uterus to get that information just because they can, not because they need to, because it's going to be removed, because there is a beautiful intelligence there that has so much feminine wisdom to offer that maybe we don't access and talk to. And certainly at Master Coach, we bring that in as part of the communication process and the roadmap. And so you don't need to, I guess this is why I wanted to talk, was saying, but when we're hit with a decision we have to make, we kind of have no choice, and we'll do things because we have to. But really inviting all ladies to have these conversations deep in their pelvis anyway, long before they need to or have to, or because they're focusing on some negative. But actually there's this beautiful intelligence, which, as you say, yours just spoke so beautifully to us and shared that knowledge around the other organs. And that will be why you still feel the essence and the energy and the presence of that there. And you've not got the loss that, unfortunately, some women who don't go through this process will have a hysterectomy and then feel a deep grief about a loss.
It's funny because I had conversation with my friend who is a psychologist, and she works in more traditional ways, like psychotherapy, going in the past. And the first question she asked me, so don't you feel the kind of that now you are not a proper, your female functions are not properly functioning, something like that? I said, you know what? No, because I really prepared myself for kind of, what's going to happen. And I'm seeing it. And honestly speaking, there is a lot of positivities in not having a womb as well. If you think about the like what are advantages are, there's a few as well. So which is quite nice.
Absolutely. Now I remember for me, Maria, there was a moment when I was in that prep phase where energetically I felt a shift and almost a closing down of my body saying, yeah, I'm ready. And almost energetically, that hysterectomy had happened before I actually went into surgery. Did you have any experience like that?
I think I felt like 100% ready. I kind of started leaving already in mind of it's gonna happen early. I think you're right. It's also funny that I just a couple of days or maybe a week left passed after operation, and then I started to freak out about the operation. I suddenly, oh my gosh, it lasted like it was more, it went not that easy that it was initially meant to go. It was laparoscopic, but I stayed there much longer, and then I had a blood transfusion as well because I lost a lot of blood. But in even the millisecond before the operation, I wasn't really scared, or I wasn't like anticipating something bad. I knew 100% that I'm ready, everything will be fine, and it was fine in the end. Yeah.
And despite it being more complicated and more involved, you've still done this beautiful recovery. So talk to me a little bit about the post-surgery. What did you carry on doing? What processes did you keep using as part of your recovery? How have you in 2 months got back to doing handstands? And that's nothing mBraining. We can't claim that one, but how have you got back to, to being so fit and healthy so quickly?
Oh yeah, well, I was doing a lot of, I don't know, I wasn't in the course of embodied wisdom, but this is how I might call what I was doing. I was doing a lot of balanced breathing, a lot of talking to my internal organs, specifically, the place where the womb was, and the gut and the pelvic area, and not actually just that. I was just trying to heal this part of the body, but I also was kind of checking with all my body really how it felt, because for me, being not able to do what I used to do, I'm very active, and I'm doing a lot of sports, I'm doing a lot of active yoga. So that was another thing for me that I kind of had to prepare myself as well, being not so active. And for a week I had to almost, I lied on the bed with all this like special bandages on my legs. It was very annoying. So I had to kind of, the thing is, like, I had to kind of slow down inside me and say, this is the time for me. And this is actually was also before the operation as well, the moment when I let myself just focus on my healing, not thinking about, because I always have a lot of projects in mind, and my life is changing quite significantly right now. So I was always like, I have to do this. And then suddenly I realized that is what I need to do to be able to continue, with what I have planned, is just to heal myself and to pause and to really be with me, with myself, holding myself. And it was an amazing feeling. And I realized that, and it's been, and I never ever had time for myself before. Then I have had such a significant time, and September here in the UK was absolutely beautiful. So I was blessed by amazing weather. So I would take, the chair, going into the garden, reading Loving Your Life every day, and doing lots of kind of restorative yoga, and listening to my body, really what my body needed. and following my body. And I learned so much about my body during this period. Is amazing. Just,
and again, that was
yeah.
kind of forced in a way, because you found yourself post-surgery and, you know, wanting to do things, not being able to do things, and being forced to just slow down and go quiet and really listen to yourself. It's another great example of where we don't need to wait until we're forced. You know, we could do that regularly for ourselves as women, and not try and hold the whole world and not try and juggle multiple balls, but actually within the midst of it, deeply, deeply nurture and give ourselves that time so that we can do everything else for everybody else.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And I felt, first time in my life, I felt like so feminine in a good way, that, yeah, I really can kind of slow down and listen and not push through. And for me, it's a big thing. I have, like, you know, all the tests that I go masculine versus feminine, it's always like 70% masculine. And then suddenly I felt this amazing energy inside me, which is absolutely beautiful. And the nice add-on to all the ladies listening is that I feel completely in love with my body. Completely in love. It's just, yeah.
Beautiful. You've got every other woman listening now going enviously, I want that.
Yeah, they all run to do a hysterectomy.
But you can do it without the hysterectomy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, for you and I, we kind of came across that because we were pushed down that road. But actually, you know, for women out there, find yourself an mBIT master coach and have those conversations with your pelvic organs now, and access that beautiful femininity and love and nurture and co-creativity that is sat there just kind of quietly going, hello.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily take that time. So that was part of what I wanted this call to be, is to say, yes, it's about your beautiful story and how amazing you were in that healing and what you did to deeply communicate with yourselves. But also it's to say that, you know, as women, we don't need to wait for that. We could proactively talk to our organs, including our pelvic organs, and get all of that beautiful. There's a lot of literature at the moment that's saying it's going to be the feminine power that changes the world. It's going to be that femininity, which comes from male and female, of course. But I think for females, we do have that that real ability from our pelvic brains to kind of model a different way forward that comes wholly through the beautiful mBraining highest expressions. That compassion, the creativity. You spoke about being more creative. What a beautiful side effect. You spoke about being even more feminine. You know, go and blow raspberries at that psychologist or psychotherapist that suggested you'd be less than a woman. You know, so I just wanted to, share that with people, share your story. If there was one piece of advice you'd give to ladies that you've learned about all of this through going through this process, what would it be?
I would say love yourself as you are, and listen to yourself and listen to your body. Beautiful. Your body knows everything. It's everything. And your body, maybe it has very low voice at the moment, but if you listen, your body will tell you everything.
Beautiful. So taking that time out every day to go really quiet and still, so that we can genuinely listen to all of those voices within, yes, the heart and gut, but also that pelvic brain, and of course the autonomic nervous system that is our ultimate kind of protector and maintainer of balance. That again, we cover at master coach level. And I know we spoke about that in terms of, you know, putting you on a balanced trajectory as you went through that surgery. Maria, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know there will be women who listen to this who just go, thank you, because there'll be something in it for them that they needed to hear. And I'm going to say this, feel free to kind of, I'm sure you're okay with this, but if somebody wants to contact you, that you'd be happy to kind of talk to them if something you've said really resonates with them in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Please. I'm happy to share and yeah, to help.
Beautiful. So we'll make sure your email, if we'll talk offline, you can tell me which email's best to put. We'll put your email up. People know how to get hold of me. And yeah, really encourage you ladies to go and deeply, deeply connect with that beautiful, beautiful feminine energy and co-creativity within. Maria, thank you so much.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Bye-bye.
Bye.